Good morning, America. Case dismissed. The stunning end to Alec Baldwin's involuntary manslaughter trial.
Your motion to dismiss with prejudice is granted.
Why the judge ruled in Baldwin's favor and how the prosecutor wound up on the witness stand. All the details on the trial's emotional end.
Political pressure. President Biden reassuring voters he's got what it takes.
I am running and we're going to win.
Biden meeting with the top House Democrat while Donald Trump prepares for next week's Republican National Convention. Questions swirling about who he'll name as a running mate.
Coast-to-coast shark alerts, the new urgent actions to keep swimmers safe. More drones taking to the skies, a beach temporarily closed after 3 shark sightings. What to know to stay safe in the water.
Airplane scare. Passengers ordered to evacuate the cabin.
The flames they were huge. They were up to the ceiling.
Emergency slides deployed. What's being blamed for starting it all?
I told you I'd get on a room.
No way, you did it?
Yeah.
No way, let me see, man.
And sweet success. The New York City deli owner rewarding members of his community for their academic achievements, inspiring their hunger for knowledge with a hunger for treats.
I want to get on a roll.
Live from ABC News in New York, this is Good Morning America.
And good morning, America. It's great to have you with us and great to have Rhiannon back at the desk with us this morning.
Thanks
good morning
for having
to you. Yes, we've got a lot to cover here this morning. President Biden hitting the campaign trail, vowing to continue his re-election campaign. This follows a big week for Biden, including that NATO summit in Washington. White House National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby joins us in a few minutes.
And another scorching weekend ahead of us, pretty much coast to coast. In Texas, a public health emergency just declared. The heat compounded by the lack of electricity for about 1 million people in the Houston area following Hurricane Beryl.
Yes, so many people still struggling there, but we do begin here with the legal shocker overnight. A judge dismissing the case against Alec Baldwin in that deadly movie set shooting in 2021. ABC's Jacqueline Lee joins us now from the courthouse in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Jacqueline, good morning. I know you were in that courtroom when this all happened.
Yes, that's right, Gio. Good morning to you. You could feel the tension in the courtroom as the case started to unravel. Alec Baldwin remaining a free man who cannot be tried again. This morning, a dramatic Hollywood ending in actor Alec Baldwin's criminal trial.
Your motion to dismiss with prejudice is granted.
After the judge ruled that the charges of involuntary manslaughter in the case be dismissed with prejudice, Baldwin crying, hugging his wife Ilaria. The judge ruling prosecutors withheld key evidence from Baldwin's defense team.
They buried it. They put it under a different case with a different number.
That evidence, an envelope of ammunition turned into investigators earlier this year, allegedly from the same batch that killed Rust cinematographer Helena Hutchins. Prosecutors pushing back, arguing those rounds did not match the bullets on set. The judge sending the jury home while attorneys heard testimony from the lead detective on the case.
When you say that there were discussions and the decision was made by all of you to put that ammo in a separate file, right? Is that correct? You said that?
Yes, ma'am.
Was Ms. Morrissey part of that discussion?
Yes.
Thank you.
The lead prosecutor, Carrie Morrissey, then taking the stand as her own witness, telling the judge she thought the ammunition would be turned over.
I was not aware at that point in time that a doc report would not have the same case number.
But outside of court, telling a different story.
And do you regret not turning over the ammunition?
Well, I didn't know that the ammunition that became the subject of today's hearing existed.
Pressing her further.
You said you didn't know the evidence existed until today? Yes. Can you clarify that?
You heard my testimony.
And as for the convicted armorer, Hannah Gutierrez, her attorney says they will file a similar motion as they appeal her case. Gio?
Yeah, that appeal is sure to come. All right, Jacqueline, thank you so much. Let's go ahead and bring in ABC News legal contributor Brian Buckmire. Thank you so much, Brian. Thank you for being here. This decision, this came as a real shock to everyone, including yourself. How did we get here?
So we got here because there was those ammunition, as well as a report that the prosecutor not only didn't turn over, but actually put in a different docket number. Docket numbers are like social security numbers for your cases. So imagine having crucial information for your case put in someone else's identifying information. Now, the judge ruled that this was material to the case, and it should have been turned over to the defense to give them the opportunity to evaluate it and also potentially form their own defense. And it prejudiced Alec Baldwin so much that there was only one remedy. Not to have a mistrial allow the prosecution to try again, but to throw out the case altogether. Unfortunately, things like this, what we call Brady or Giglio violations, are far too common. Not common to the point that judges are throwing the cases out, but common that prosecutors withhold evidence that they think is not relevant. But this law that started in, I think, 1963 and then following law in 1972 has been around literally for decades. And it's not the prosecution to decide what's relevant or not. It's up to them to give to the defense so they can make their arguments.
And to be clear, they cannot try Alec Baldwin again for this.
This case is dismissed with prejudice, meaning that it cannot come back for any reason. The judge said that this was so egregious, this was so bad, that a mistrial, meaning it could come back again, was not the appropriate remedy, that it must be thrown out altogether. And the reason why the law is formed this way, it's supposed to be that big stick that reminds prosecutors, get it right the first time or we won't let you do it again.
All right, ABC News legal contributor Brian Buckmire, thank you so much for joining us.
What a twist. Thank you, Brian. Now to politics. And President Biden hitting the campaign trail, telling voters he is in the race to win it. ABC's Mary Alice Parks joins us now. Mary Alice, it's been a big week. What's the latest with this?
Yeah, Rhiannon, good morning. The president overnight was more energetic in Michigan. He enjoyed a warm reception from his supporters, telling him that they had his back. But we know other Democrats, including many running for office themselves, are still worried about whether Biden will ever be able to put these questions about his age behind him. President Biden overnight sounding more energized on the campaign trail in Michigan, boosted by supporters.
I've got your back.
Addressing the political turmoil in his own party and speculation about whether he could bow out of the race, the president insisting he isn't going anywhere.
I am running, and we're going to win. Party, the only Democrat or Republican who has beaten Donald Trump ever. And I'm going to beat him again.
Working overtime to try to turn the conversation to his opponent, saying it's time to stop treating politics like reality TV, listing Trump's criminal convictions and attempt to overthrow the 2020 election results.
Do you really want to go back to the chaos of Donald Trump as president?
And Biden laying out what he wants to do in the first 100 days of a second term, restore a national right to abortion and medical debt and raise the federal minimum wage. But anxiety among Democrats only growing. 20 congressional Democrats now saying Biden should step aside.
We must prevail against the incalculable threat Donald Trump poses to the American institutions of freedom and democracy.
House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries meeting privately with President Biden, telling his colleagues after that he directly expressed the full breadth of insight, heartfelt perspectives, and conclusions about the path forward that he heard from his members. His statement not mentioning whether he encouraged the president to stay in the race. Around the country, Democratic voters telling us, some more excited than others, that they are sticking with their party.
I'm going to vote for the Democratic Party, not necessarily Joe Biden.
Everybody keeps accentuating his guff.
Nothing's changed for me. I support Biden. His record is great.
Now, the president has been working the phones, talking to Democratic lawmakers. One of those calls was with members of the Hispanic caucus. Sources telling me that Congressman Mike Levin said directly to Biden that he should drop out of the race, and that others were really frustrated that they couldn't get their questions straight to the president.
Yeah, these questions keep on coming. Mary Alice, thank you so much. We do appreciate it. And President Biden was also in the spotlight this week, hosting world leaders at the NATO summit in Washington. Joining us now is White House National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby. John, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it. So let's go ahead and start with that moment at the NATO summit when President Biden introduced Ukraine's President Zelensky as President Putin, mixing up their names. Of course, he did correct himself, but you know this comes at this critical time as some are raising questions about President Biden's health, his fitness for office. What does a moment like that do to President Biden's credibility on the world stage?
Oh, it doesn't affect his credibility on the world stage one bit. He corrected it, as you rightly noted, and then he went on to have a terrific meeting with President Zelensky about all the ways in which we are supporting Ukraine. In fact, in that meeting, he actually announced another $225 million in support for weapons and equipment. So it's not affecting anything about our support to Ukraine, and certainly nothing about the world stage and American leadership on it.
But as you know, it wasn't just that moment. I mean, later in the day, there was the mix-up with Kamala Harris as vice president and Donald Trump. But I do want to ask you, because there have been reports that other NATO leaders are worried about Biden. Did you witness any of those concerns in these meetings this week?
I did not. As a matter of fact, many of those world leaders came up to the president privately and expressed their great gratitude for his leadership on the world stage, but also more critically, his leadership, his stewardship of the NATO alliance. Under this president now, when he started, when he got elected, 9 countries from the NATO alliance were meeting their 2% spending on gross domestic product on defense, and now 23. So it's more than doubled. When he started, the alliance was at 30 members. Now it's at 32, with Finland and Sweden now members. So the alliance is stronger. It's more resilient. It's more relevant than ever. And that is it's not an accident, and very much in large part due to President Biden's leadership.
And outside of that, John, though, as you know, I think the concern from many in the public is not just what they're seeing out in public, but what's happening in private when it comes to some of these gaffes from the president. From your personal perspective, your interactions with President Biden, have you ever been concerned about his mental acuity or fitness for the job?
No, not once. And I can tell you, just in the meetings I'm in, the sessions I have with him, the time that I get to spend with him, I see a commander-in-chief who takes his responsibilities extraordinarily seriously. He knows that we're at an inflection point in history. He understands the dangers and challenges out there. Russia's war in Ukraine, certainly chief among them. And he's doing everything he can to protect the American people and do it in a way that builds on, and I think, frankly, benefits from his long experience in government service and the deep relationships that he has with world leaders.
I do want to turn while we have you and ask you about the Middle East and a potential ceasefire deal. President Biden said that Israel and Hamas have agreed to a framework, but still more work to do. How close is a possible deal right now?
Well, we're cautiously optimistic. We believe that we've got this essential framework done, which is not insignificant now. You got both Israel and Hamas have signed up to the framework. That's a big deal. But there are still details that need to be hammered out, and our team is still working with their counterparts in the region to do that. I can't give you a time certain. I don't know how long that process is going to take, but we do believe we're very close. And we also believe that these gaps that remain, these details that still have to be hammered out, are of such a nature that they absolutely can be solved. And so we're cautiously optimistic. We're hopeful. We really do want to get this over the finish line.
So many hopeful around the world and so much at stake. John Kirby, as always, thank you for your time this morning. We appreciate it. Gio?
All right, Whit, now to the Republicans. They're about to open their convention in Milwaukee, where Donald Trump is expected to name his running mate. ABC's Jay O'Brien is right there in Milwaukee this morning. Good morning, Jay.
Gio, good morning. Before things even kick off here in Milwaukee, all eyes today will be on former President Trump at a rally in Pennsylvania as suspense builds over exactly who his vice presidential pick will be. In a recent radio interview, Trump said he'd like to announce the pick at the convention here in Milwaukee or slightly before it. ABC News has reported that Florida Senator Marco Rubio, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, all on Trump's shortlist. Meantime, here in Milwaukee, preparations are underway for a convention that will very much be in Trump's image. Each night has a theme that is a spin-off of Trump's Make America Great Again tagline. Monday is Make America Wealthy Again. Tuesday is Make America Safe Again, and so on. Sources tell ABC News that former First Lady Melania Trump will be in attendance in a rare campaign appearance for her. Both of Trump's adult sons are also expected to speak. Republican sources tell me that they have relished in recent weeks that the scrutiny has been on their opponents as Democrats grapple with President Biden's candidacy. But they acknowledge that when things kick off here in Milwaukee, the spotlight will shift back onto the GOP and back onto Trump. Rihanna?
All eyes on Milwaukee. Jay O'Brien, thank you for that. Now to the power crisis in Texas, where Hurricane Beryl left more than 2 million people without electricity. That number is now down to about 1 million, which is still a lot of people. But hundreds of thousands could be sweltering without air conditioning even next week. ABC's Zoreen Shaw has more.
I'm fed up and I'm tired.
This morning, Texas residents outraged, left in the dark for nearly a week after Beryl crashed into the Gulf Coast.
Houston should have to suffer, but we're suffering right now.
Nearly 800,000 Houston area residents dealing with sweltering heat without any electricity. The medical examiner in Harris County saying at least 3 people have died from heat exposure. The power company says they are working around the clock to get power restored by the end of the weekend.
The remaining customers are going to be the hardest hit customers.
You're talking till Saturday, maybe Sunday, maybe next week? How is that possible?
Beryl came ashore as a Category 1 storm, leaving behind a trail of destruction. State officials saying residents can now apply for federal aid. Hospital officials say they're seeing an influx in heat-related illnesses 3 times the norm this time of year. Patients with chronic illnesses who were supposed to get priority for power restoration say they are being left behind. State officials vow to investigate the power company's response.
You can't handle 5 days of losing power in this type of temperature. The phrase Houston strong, we're Houston tired.
The Texas Lieutenant Governor is calling for an investigation into the power company. And overnight, CenterPoint put out an interactive map where residents can type in their address and it will tell them when they can expect power to be restored. Guys.
From Houston strong to Houston tired. I think a lot of people can relate to that. Zoreen, thank you. Now to that scare for passengers and crew aboard an American Airlines jet as it was preparing for takeoff in San Francisco. Smoke in the cabin forced everyone to evacuate the plane, with emergency responders then racing to the scene. ABC's Phil Lipof is here with the latest. Phil, good morning.
Whit, good morning to you. These were, as you say, some really scary moments aboard this American Airlines jet. A backpack on fire, confusion, and ultimately evacuation for everyone on board.
Out! 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 Out!
This morning, the tense moments during that emergency evacuation of a passenger plane getting ready for takeoff from San Francisco. Smoke filling the cabin.
We got a mayday, mayday, mayday. There's a fire in the back of the aircraft. Start the fire rescue.
Passengers boarding the American Airlines jet when the crew called for help.
The flames were huge. They were up to the ceiling.
Jan Yankai says the backpack under his father's seat ignited, the flames growing quickly. Yankai says he tried to throw that backpack out of the emergency door, but a flight attendant stopped him.
At that moment, I just dropped the bag for like a second, and my father just took it and threw it out because it was at that point still burning. And for us, the logical thing to do is throw the burning thing outside.
Passengers pushing to the front of the plane, a flight attendant deploying the emergency slides.
I can see them exiting the fire department just off your right-hand side. They should be there in 2 minutes.
This video showing passengers on the tarmac shortly after the incident. Firefighters finding the source of the smoke, confirming it was a battery fire, which American Airlines tells us came from a laptop in a passenger's bag. First responders appearing to place what may have been a laptop in a container of water. All right, the San Francisco Fire Department says 3 people experienced some minor injuries while evacuating through the emergency slides. One of them did have to be taken to the hospital. Guys?
Yeah, really scary situation there. All right, Phil, thank you so much.